I'm Timotab, and today I'm going to solve Random Spinifex by Bellsita. If you would like to try this puzzle for yourself, it will be the first link in the description. Okay, well, let's have a look at the rules. Normal sudoku rules apply. Each row, column, and region indicated by thick borders in the grid must contain the digits 1 to 9 once each. Arrows. Digits along an arrow must sum to the digit in the attached circle. So this cell here must be the sum of these two. It must also be the sum of these 4 digits. And I'll note that Bellsita has made the two sets of arrows different so that we can see that all the ones emanating from this circle are the thicker but lighter grey, and these ones are thinner and darker grey, so that we can see how they interact in these two cells and these two cells that they share. So thank you very much for making that clear. And German Whisper, adjacent digits along a green line differ by 5 or more, so if this were a 3, this would have to be an 8 or a 9 to be at least 5 away from it. Okay, I am going to restart the puzzle to reset the timer, and let's begin. And I think I want to start with the German Whisper. Okay, I cannot put a 5 on a German Whisper line, because if I put a 5 here, what would this digit be? It would have to be 10 or more, or 0 or less, and none of those are valid Sudoku digits. I now can't put 2 high digits, above 5 digits, next to each other, because if I try that, then the maximum difference between these two is 3, which is the 6 and the 9, but I need a minimum difference of 5. If I put 2 low digits below 5 next to each other, I'll have the same problem. So I'm going to alternate between high and low, and we sometimes call that polarity. But I can't, I don't know yet whether these digits are going to be high or low, but I do know that they are all the same polarity, as are these. Okay, now let's have a look. Okay, where do these 2 purple digits go in this box? And they clearly don't go in the green cells, and they can't go here by Sudoku, so between them they must go here, 1 each. So we can mark those as purple, and we can ask the same question of these 2. Where do they go? They can't go here, they're clearly not these purple digits, they're clearly not the green digits, so they must go here. That means that this is a 5, and we have our first digit. We can also see that these purple digits cannot be the high digits. At least one of them is 9. Well, exactly one of them is 9 because they're all in the same box. So one of them is 9, and you can't put a 9 on an arrow that we know has a single digit total. So the purple digits I am going to replace with blue to be low, because that's kind of a cool color. The green I am going to replace with orange to remind me that they are high digits. We have all of the low digits and the 5 in the center column and row, so we can mark the others as high. And the minimum for these 2 is 1 and 2. The minimum for these 2 is 1 and 2. That makes a total of 6 on this long arrow, so that has to be high. And we can use the exact same argument to say that that is going to be a high digit. All right. More on this German Whisper. Okay, because these 4 digits we can map into these 4 digits, because that's how we got them into the box 5 in the first place, we know that these 4 digits are 4 different digits. Now, I can't place a 4 here because the only digit that is at least 5 away from a 4 is 9, and I can't place a 9 here and a 9 here. Likewise, that can't be 4, that can't be 4, and so this must be a 4. That makes this a 9 and this a 9. Okay, because we know that these 4 are 4 different digits, I can't place a 6 here because that would make both of those 1s, because again, 6 only has 1 digit that it can go next to on a German whisper. So I can't make both of those 1s, I can't make both of those 1s, so this must be the 6, and this must be a 1. That makes these two a 2-3 pair. Because that is a 2-3 pair, I can't place a 7 here, because 3 is too close. That places the 7 here and an 8 here. This must be a 2 in order to be at least 5 away from 7, and now this is a 3 as the last remaining digit. I get a 2-4 pair here, I get a 1-3 pair here. The minimum, now that I've got this 1, of these 2 digits is 2 and 3. That makes 5. If that were a 4, I would already have 9, not counting that digit. So that must be a 2, that must be a 4. Could I have 2 and 4 there? That would be 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, I could. Same must be from 2, 3, and 4. 2 and 5 would give me 7, 8, 9. So these are low digits. Minimum of 5, 6, 7. So this is a minimum of 1. But 5, 6, 7, I can't put a 2 there, so that is in fact a 1. But this is now 8 or 9, but I don't think I know which just yet. Okay. This is a 4. This is a minimum of 1 and 2, which makes 7. So that is a maximum of 2. That's 1 or 2. That's a low digit. If this were 1 and 4, that would make 9. That's the next lowest total once I include this 4, not counting that digit. So this is in fact a 1-2 pair. And now this is 8 or 9. This is at least a 3, because it sees 1 and 2. It could be a 5, perhaps. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, that is a 3 or a 5. That's 3, so this needs to add up to 5 or 6, so there's definitely a 2 in one of those two. This is at least a 3. Even easier. This is the same digit as this, because it is the 1-cell arrow, and that can't be a 9. So that makes that an 8. So now we know that this is a 2-3 pair, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. If this is a 1, this is a 2. That makes a total of 3. And then these two have to add up to 5, but I can't do 1, 4 because of that 4, so that'd be 2, 3. All right, let's think about this actually a different way. This is 1, 2, and 4. Clearly can't be 6 because these 3 digits can't be all 1s. And the 6 is there. In fact, that is a 3 or 5 by sudoku. So if this were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that could, oh yes, no, this is an 8. 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's a 3. Okay. That was easier than I thought it would be. Once we have the right thought, right? This sees a 1, 2, 3 triple in the column. So it must be at least 4. It can't actually be 4 because that would require that to be 4. But it can't be. So that must be 5, 6, or 7. If it were 5, that would be 3. So in fact, it can't be a 5. If that's a 6, that's a 2. If that's a 7, that's a 1. And that gives me a 1, 2 pair in the column. In fact, this 6 is looking down, making that 7. So this is in fact a 1. That makes this 2. I now have 5. These two need to add up to 3, so this can't be a 3. That must be a 1. That must be a 2. That makes this a 1. And I get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is a 9. Okay. This is a 3 now. So if this were a 5, this would be 9 before we got to this digit. So that must be a 3. And now this is 6, 7. This needs to be a 2 to make 9. That makes this a 3. Okay, very nice indeed. All right. Where is the best place to look next? This is a 4 or a 5. It sees, in fact, it sees a 4 there. So this sees all of 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it sees 6, 7, 8, and 9, so that is a 5. That means that these are from 1, 6, and 7, and that one's not a 1. These are from 6, 7, 8. Okay. Right, this sees 1, 2, and 3, so it's at least a 4. If it were a 4, this would be a 5. If this was 6, this would be a 3, which it can't be. If it's a 7, this would be a 2, which it can't be. If it were an 8, this would be a 1, which it can't be, so that is a 4. That's a 5. So that's not a 5, so that must be a high digit. This sees 1, 2, 3, and 4 as well. So that's at least a 5. If this were 6, 7, or 8, then this would have to be a 1, 2, or a 3, which it can't be. So that's a 5, making this a 4. Very nice. That places a 4 into one of those three. It can't go there by sudoku. It can't go there because that would be a 9, which it can't be. So that must be the 4. That places a 4 into one of those three, but it can't be there because I can't put 2 4s on the 8 arrow. So we can mark the corners like that. This is a high digit. It sees 1, 2, 3, and 4. It can't be a 5. And it can't be 8 or 9, so it must be 6 or 7, which makes that a 1 or a 2, which I can colour. 5 in this row must go here. This must be a high digit. That's 6, 7, or 8. This is 6, 7, or 8. That is not a 4, and nor is that. So that is a 4. These two are high digits. This must be a 9. That is high and is 6 or 7. This sees 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. That must be a high digit. We've got a high digit that has to go on the 9 arrow, and that, even though we don't quite know where the 4th high digit is, but that does mean that there are 4 high digits allocated in this box. We also have the 5. These must be low digits. This is not a 5. It's not 1, 2, 3, or 4, so that is high. Likewise for this one, making this a 5. That makes this a low digit and a 4. In fact, this is an 8. That is not 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. It is a high digit, making this a low digit. That is 2 or 3. This can't be a 9. It can't be a 6 because that can't be a 1. So that is 7 or 8. This sees all the low digits and 5s. That is high. I now have 4 highs in the row, so this is low. No, let's try that. And this is high. That's from 6, 7, 8. That's from 1, 2, or 3. In fact, these are all from 1, 2, or 3. Okay. One of those two is a 4. One of these two is a 5. That is a 6 or a 9. These are from 6, 7, and 9. These are from 6, 8, and 9. That's 6, 7, or 9. I've got all of my low digits and my 5 in this column. This must be high. These two must therefore be low. Okay, let's have a look at this arrow then. Can't be 1, 7. It could be 2, 6 in either order. And it could be 3, 5 in one specific order because of the 5 in this column. Okay. Okay. Right. That's from 6, 7, or 9 by the column. This is 6 or 9 because it can't be a 7. That means that one of those two is a 7, and therefore that can't be. So that's a 6. That's a 1. That is now a 2, 3 pair. That can't be a 7 because we already have the 7 in these two cells, so that's the 8. And this is a 6, 9 pair. Nope, that's a 7, 9 pair. That's better. That makes this a 6. That is not 6. This 8 and 6 are looking across here. That's now 7. So 7 comes out of there, and that's a 1 by this 2, 3 pair. So this can't be 8. That's a 6. That's a 3. That's a 2. And that's an 8 here. That makes this a 7. This has to be 2 to be sufficiently far away. And this is a 4, 6 pair, and we know the order. This 6 in this box is removing 2, 6 as a potential arrow cells for the 8. So that must be 5. That is 3. That resolves the 2 and the 3 up here. This 6 means that that is not a 6. Five in this box must go here. That makes this a 5 and this not. 3 in this row must go here. 1 in this column must go here. These are high digits and are 8 and 9. This 4 is looking across. That's not a 4. That is. This 8 means that that's 9, and that's 8. That's 9. That gives me a 7 here. That's a 6. That's 8. That's a 6. That's now 9. There we go. This is a 2. And this is a 7. That makes this 6. This one is looking down, making that 7 and that 1. This 6 makes that a 9, which resolves the 7 and the 9 here. This 7 is looking across, making this a 6. This 8 is looking up, making that a 7, and that an 8. And that was a delightful puzzle. I really liked the way that these 4 digits, you could tell that they had to go in these 4 cells in the central box, and that they therefore had to be different. and there's a lot of symmetry between these two arrows. In fact, the only thing breaking the symmetry is this arrow, I think. Yeah, being one cell instead of two. And of course, once we determined that that was a 9, oh yeah, I guess the fact that it isn't a full diamond. But symmetry is broken here. And then once I had registered that those two had to be the same digit and therefore couldn't be 9, making that an 8, obviously limited these arrows. Wonderful puzzle. I really enjoyed it. If you liked this solve, then please hit the like button. You can subscribe to see some more, and I would love to hear your comments. I'm looking forward to next time. Be seeing you.